What is up, everybody? How is it going? Austin prechtelevate Performance, coming at you live. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great Halloween this weekend. We sure as hell did. Gonna be sharing some pictures of that later today. It'll be fun. But for those of you tuning in right now, for those of you watching, uh, let me know how your day went. Let me know how your weekend went. Let me know how Halloween went for you. Hope you're having a good week so far. Hope you're having a good day so far. We're going to jump into things in here in just a second. If you saw the title of this, I was hoping that it would be a little eye catching for you because it's true. It's true. If you are not prioritizing your self care, you're probably a worse parent than you probably could be. Right? You're probably not reaching your best self when it comes to being a parent. I know because I've been there. I have had times where I had self care, and I've had times where I wasn't prioritizing it. And guess what? I was a shittier parent because of it. And so today, not only for your own sake, but also for your kids' sake, if you're watching this, if you're a parent right now, and you are not prioritizing self care, you need to listen up. You need to watch this live. You need to make it a priority. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an example. I'm going to tell you about what I went through in the past, and why I came to the realization that self care is important. It's super important for ourselves as parents because if we're not prioritizing ourselves, at least for a little bit each day, we're not our best selves for our kids. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But as you were watching, feel free to give this video a like. Helps other people see it. Helps with the algorithm, so that way they can see it. Feel free if you're watching at a later time. Hashtag replay so that way I know you saw it. And yeah, let's jump into this. So let's start this off though with saying you know as parents, as an individual in general too, not just parents, if you are struggling right now, if you feel like you're having a hard time, like we've all been there before, like where if you're a parent, especially if you're a stay-at-home parent, like having kids, like being a parent is a tough job. It is a tough ass job. It is physically draining and demanding. It is mentally draining at times, emotionally draining at times. There's a lot of and I like to explain it this way: like being a parent, you have like the highest of highs, and sometimes you have the lowest of lows too. It's a spectrum of things, and it's not it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's also not all bad, right? Like there's a reason why being a parent is a thing. It's got to be enjoyable. There's got to be some good return there. Otherwise, people would probably never have kids, right? Um, and so it's one of those things where you can only do so much, especially from a place of pain or stress or exhaustion. And a lot of parents that I talk to on a weekly basis, a lot of my clients before we started working together, they were in that place, right? And you might be in that place right now, or you might have been there in the past, so you can relate. Sometimes being a parent is tough. Sometimes it is exhausting. Sometimes it is sometimes you feel like you can't do anything right. Sometimes you feel like everything's falling apart. Sometimes you're just trying to keep your head above water, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and not only are things like relying on you, but you've also got a kid or kids, a little one who is also relying on you, who is also banking on you, not like screwing up screwing up both of your lives, right? So what's up, Kira? What's up? How's it going? I was trying to tag you in this one, it wouldn't let me, so I don't know what was up with that. Facebook's being weird right now. So, yeah, feel free to chime in the comments, Kira, as you're watching this, because I feel like this will resonate really well with you as well, because you know exactly what I'm talking about, for when before starting to work together. So, but you can only pour so much of yourself. Like I can only pour so much of myself until your cup is dry, right? You can only pour so much of yourself into your kids, into your job, into whatever it is that right now that you feel like is a large, preoccupier of your time. You can only do so much. You can only give so much until you have nothing left to give. And when you get to that point, guess what? You need to recharge your freaking battery. You need to fill your cup back up. Because if you don't do that, you're burning the candle at both ends. And eventually you're not going to have a candle left and you're going to crash and you're going to burn out. And that's when shit is not fun anymore. And so as parents, our self care is super important. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys, and it's this whole oxygen mask theory, right? Like if you want to help your kids, right? If you want to be the best parent that you can for yourself in this situation, you need to put your oxygen mask on first. You need to take care of you first before you can take care of your kids at your best, right? And obviously, obviously I'm not saying if you're sitting here right now watching this and you've got your kid and you're just you're put them down and you're like, screw this, I'm gonna go take care of myself. No, like, we have to be smart about this. We have to, like pick the times that we want to like work on ourselves on a daily basis. But there are times like that, like on a daily basis, that you need to be taking care of yourself, because if you are not taking care of yourself, you cannot take care of your kids at your best. And if you want to be the best parent, what's up, Kristen? If you want to be your best self, right? If you want to be your best self for your kids and for yourself also, like that's important too. Like you need to prioritize self care. And so I'm going to tell you guys a story because I have had self care, right? I'm a big advocate of it. But there was a time in my life where I got injured. And the one thing that I relied on as my source of self care, I no longer had it anymore. And the other bright side of the story, obviously, I got it back, and I started taking care of myself again. But during that period of time, to have had and to have lost, and then to have again, I went through some like some shit, man. It was tough. It was not fun. It was like eye opening to me in terms of how important self care for me was. I didn't realize how important it was. And my version of self care is the gym. My version of self care is my health, my fitness journey. And I feel like for a lot of my clients, for a lot of the parents that I work with, it is that for them too now. And they didn't maybe realize that it could have been that for them at the start, but over time, they were like, man, this is like really good for me. This is really good for my mental health. This is really good for my physical health. This is really good for my like emotional health. Chris said I was dead for 3 days of COVID. Kira says it's so timely. I had a Zoom meeting this morning with a psychiatrist to discuss Aiden's ADHD and started a new therapy. It's going to be a lot, and I will self care more than ever. Exactly, exactly. And it's one of those things. It's like in those moments, like you need to like triple down on your own self care because shit's gonna get intense for a little bit. Shit's gonna might be a little rocky at times, like especially during periods of transition. Like it's super important to prioritize that self care and to double down on it because you're gonna need it now more than ever. And that's what I kind of went through. Is like, so I tore my pec 3 years ago. 3 years ago in November, I tore my pec. And when I tore my pec, it may have actually been at the end of October. No, it was, yeah, I don't know. It was at the end of October, early November. But I tore my pec. And when I tore my pec, I could not carry even a fucking milk jug. Like I could not carry a milk jug. I could not carry our baby in my arm. And I was a stay-at-home dad at the time, and I had my arm in a sling. Like I could not move it without having it being in excruciating pain. And I had our baby, and like I would have to do like one arm fucking diaper changes and try and like do shit like that. It was so hard. And obviously during that period of time, like I wanted to work out, and I couldn't. I couldn't anymore. I couldn't work out for like a month straight. I was miserable. I was stuck at the house, and for me at that time, like my only time to get away from my kid, right? And it might sound bad, but fuck that shit. Like we need time to get away from our kids sometimes as parents. Like you need that. You can't be like all consumed by them all the time, all day, every day, because like it gets stressful, right? And eventually, for me, it came to the point where I felt like a prisoner in my own house, where I was like, I would wake up, and like I would wake up, take care of the kid, try, and like when he was napping, I would I would look for jobs on job boards, and like I would go to the gym because I had like an hour at the gym where at the time the gym daycare I could have that time for myself, to like work out, like work on myself, like even just like listen to like a YouTube video or something while I was doing cardio, like just something to get away from the house that I was spending literally all my time at, like, and taking care of my kid. It was just like, and for as parents, like if you're a stay-at-home parent, especially, like you can relate. Sometimes you feel like a prisoner because like you can't leave work. Your work is where you live, and you live at your work, and because you can't get away from your work, not having any time to yourself is exhausting. Because you get done with work, and it's still you get done with work. Your spouse comes home, Jessica would come home from work, and she'd be exhausted from her job. I was exhausted from my job. And by the end of it, like we would both just be like frustrated and exhausted and just like, oh my gosh, like, and I felt like I could never get away because like I was literally living at living in the house, living at the place that I worked at. And so, that self-care time for me was like, that hour a day that I would get whenever, I wasn't trying to like find jobs, whenever I was at the gym. That was my sanctuary. That was like my time to feel like a fucking human being again, because as parents, we are humans and we deserve time for ourselves, and we deserve and we need that time, that self-care time to, get in touch with who we are. and to not feel like a walking like napkin, or to not feel like a walking like diaper changer, or like you know what I mean, like and I feel like a lot of parents, if you're listening to this right now, like you're like shit, like I can relate. And if you're one of my clients watching this right now, and that's how you felt, whenever before you started, taking that time for your self care, like feel free to chime in the comments and let people know, like how good it feels now to have that self care, to have that like level of self care integrated into your schedule, into your routine, like it's a part of your life now. Like the difference that it can make is enormous, and it's incredible. And so, and during that time, like honestly, like when I tore my pec, and when I tore my pec, I couldn't go to the gym for like a month. Like I said, I could barely lift. I couldn't lift my arm above my own head. I and this is like just to like, I mean, to be honest, like I couldn't put like I could only put deodorant on one side of my body. Like I would have to lay like just like this is how bad it was. I'd have to stick a piece the deodorant like, and I'd have to sit it on like a pillow like wedged between, and like lay down and like rub my arm on it just to put fucking deodorant on the other side of my body because I couldn't move my fucking arm. And so when that was happening, like, I couldn't go to the gym. And when I finally was able to go back, like, I couldn't lift like I wanted to. I couldn't get that time. I didn't feel like myself. And so, like, a part of my identity, not only when I did my pec tear, but I feel like I got torn apart from, like, my sense of self, my sense of identity, what was giving me, like, self worth and was self care to me at that time. And so, because I didn't have that anymore, shit, like, I felt horrible. I felt terrible. I felt like, I was like, I look bad. I'm not happy with how I feel like my outside does not match my inside with who I am. I felt like I was like, you know, like falling apart, honestly, in a lot of ways, like mentally, physically, emotionally. Like I was miserable. And it was like one of the worst periods of time in my life. Other like honestly, like other than like when I was in grad school, which a lot of you guys know that story, like other than grad school, like I like when I was a stay-at-home dad for this period of time, I was so fucking depressed. Like I was so fucking depressed being stuck in my house all day, taking care of a baby. I couldn't find work. I'd applied to over 100 jobs, and I only got like one and a half interviews. And out of those interviews, one of the jobs I was not qualified for in the slightest. I don't even know why they gave me the opportunity. So I felt like a dumbass, and like I'm never gonna get to work. I'm gonna be stuck being a stay home dad for the rest of my life. Um, and some people that's totally fine if that's what you want. If that's like your choice, right? Like I think like, but the self care is a priority, right? And just for me, like I knew that wasn't like that's not who I am. I don't have the mentality. I'm not, as weird as it sounds. I'm not like I don't have that caregiver like mentality, or that mind, that brain frame, or whatever you want to call it. And so for me, it was like it was really tough. It was really hard, and I got to like a really low point where I was like super fucking depressed. And because I wasn't having that self care for myself anymore, and I didn't know how to have self care for myself when I lost the main source of that in my life. Like I was not the best parent I could have been. Just be straight up. Like I was not the best parent I could have been. I wasn't a bad parent, but I know that I was like I was not that great at it. And so I'm not trying to get back on track. So let's see. Kier says for a long time I always thought self care was bubble baths and pedicures, and don't get me wrong, I love those things, but they don't have a long lasting impact. It only helps me while I was in the tub, and no one can live that way. But going to the gym, doing my workouts helps my mental health in an extended period of time. It's totally different. Exactly. And it's one of those things. It's like people think self care is this instant gratification, this like source of like instant gratification, or they think it's going to get your nails done, or going to get your hair done, or like buying something for yourself, or whatever it may be. And those things are nice, and they can make you feel better in the short term, but they won't have a lasting impact, right? They don't have that like they don't have a very good shelf life in terms of like actually helping us long term. And so if you're somebody right now who you default to that normally, just know that there are other ways to find self care that are going to have a more lasting impact on your life. Whether that's fitness or not, or whether it's a hobby that you really enjoy, like I encourage you to please like find that self care in your day to day. Because in my life, like I was like, at that time, like it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Like I did not feel like myself. And then once I finally got the okay to actually go back to the gym, it was like a key unlocked like my happiness again. Like it unlocked like my ability to be the best parent that I could be, because I was happier. I was like mentally, like I had more like bandwidth to like spare. Like I felt like a person again, and more and rather than just a parent, right? Because like I said, like, yes, we're parents, but we're also people too with our own shit that we care about in our own lives. And so often people, they lose sight of that because they get so caught up in being a parent. And, like, it's fun and exciting, but eventually it can, turn into something, it can become a negative. It can be like a larger source of stress than you want it to be. And if you're in pain, if you're constantly stressed, like, or mentally drained, like, you're not your best self, right? You're not your best self. Everybody always feels good after they go on, like, a vacation, right? They come back and they, like, feel refreshed, like, oh, like, that was great. View your self care as like a mini vacation on a daily basis to, like, get away and separate yourself from the bullshit of life. And maybe that's fitness, right? Maybe that's a fitness journey. Maybe that's a health journey. Maybe that's nutrition, or a fat loss journey, or whatever it may be for you. Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe you had something that you used to like to do, like painting or writing or whatever it may be. But you need to find that. You need to tap into that on a daily basis, because that's going to help you be your best self. It's going to be your best parent that you could be. Because if cracks start to form in that foundation, right? The foundation that is your building as a parent, if those cracks start to form and you're not maintaining it properly, the whole building's going to collapse one day, and it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun, and it could be really bad. And I don't want that to happen to you guys, so that's why you need to prioritize your self-care. You need to make the time, right? And a lot of people that might be watching this might be thinking, like, where do I even freaking start, right? Where do I even start? It starts with setting aside, like, 15, 20, 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be a lot, right? It starts with setting aside the time, though, and actually making it a priority. Do it when your kid's napping. Find a daycare at a gym if they're open right now, and do that shit. Find a grandparent that can watch your kid, or your spouse, or a sister or brother that's locally, like a family member, and have them watch your kid for, like, a half hour to an hour a day. Or if you got a family friend, or other parents that have friends, and just do, like, you watch my kid on this day and I'll watch your kid on this day, kind of deal. Like, like, make the time, though. Like, there are ways to do it. You just need to do it. You just need to do it, honestly. And so, for those of you watching, though, right now, like, if this resonates, like, let me know. If you're somebody that struggles with self-care, like, call yourself out. But start making it a priority today. Like, don't wait, because it's not going to get any easier. It's not going to get any better until you start to actually make the effort to do it. And if you're a client of mine watching this right now, feel free, like, tell the people in the comments that are watching right now, like, how much better life got when you actually started, prioritizing your own self-care, and, like, the impact that it had on not only you, but also your family, also your kids. Because I know a lot of you that are watching right now, like, you guys, like, have told me, like, like, oh my gosh, like, my kids like to work out with me. Oh my gosh, like, they like to, they want to learn about, like, how to lift weights, or they want to learn how to eat properly, or they like the meal prepping stuff, like, because it impacts not just you, but also your kids. So, and, if we're our best selves, as people, I guarantee you we're our best selves as parents. So make it a priority. Make your self-care a priority, and you guys won't regret it. I promise you that. So, what's up, Laura? Kira says, I have to say, or Lonnie says, with all that has happened to me recently, I'm slowly claiming me back, taking care of myself first. Exactly. You got to do that. Kira says, I have to say, even though I love being a stay-at-home mom, I still need self-care and an identity beyond a stay-at-home mom. Exactly. Oh, I love that. The identity. I love that. It's not the thing I am. It's just one part of who I am. I have other skills and interests. Exactly. 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 And you found a gym with childcare. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Oh my gosh. So much yep. So cool. I hope that makes sense. Because honestly, guys, like that, if you're a parent watching this right now, prioritize your damn self-care. Take care of yourself. And in doing so, you're going to be able to take care of your kids as your best self too. If you got value from this, feel free to share this. I hope you guys got value from it. Tag a parent. Tag a parent who, maybe not tag a parent, maybe don't call people out, I guess, unless you want to, if they're, like, struggling with it. But feel free to share this. Feel free to like this. Feel free to send it to them in private through Messenger or whatever, if you feel like some parents right now who are struggling with their own self-care, because it's not going to get any better until they do something about it. And if you want to be your best parent, I truly believe, if you want to be the best parent that you can be, you need to be, like, working on your own self-care and be the best version of you. Maybe it's through fitness. Maybe it's through nutrition. Who the hell knows? I hope it is, because I love that stuff and it's helped a lot of people that I know. But maybe it's something else, and it doesn't have to be fitness or nutrition, but, there's there's my little plug on that. But feel free to give this video a like. Hashtag replay if you watch this later time. I got a meeting that I got to go to, guys. I appreciate everybody for watching this. And other than that, I will talk to you all later. Happy fucking Monday. And yeah, have a good ass rest of your day. See ya. Let me know your number one takeaway, by the way.